On the Sunday game tonight, a feast of football and hurling championship fare. We'll be visiting all of today's major venues. Well, that's going to make it a particularly busy programme, and we'll be getting into the action in just a moment. Our main match tonight is the meeting of Kerry and Cork in Munster. We'll also be seeing the two games in Ulster, plus the Connacht Championship clash of Sligo and Mayo. And in addition, we'll be reporting on both of those Leinster hurling semi-finals in Carlow. And Colin O'Rourke joins me in studio tonight, and later on I'll be getting his views on the Kerry-Cork game. And what about your views? Well, don't forget our phone lines are open to you. There's our number, 016 43 666 is that number as usual, and you can start calling now. Well, while you're doing that, we'll be heading to Killarney for this afternoon's Munster Football Championship semi-final. Well, it's not going to be a Cork-Tip hurling final this year, but would it be Cork versus Tipperary in football instead? The match commentary in Killarney is by Ger Canning, assisted by John Maughan.
There can hardly be a more spectacular setting anywhere for a major sporting occasion than Killarney, set amid mountainous beauty and Mecca this year for another all-ticket Kerry versus Cork match. And all the hard work undertaken during the harshness of winter must now seem worthwhile for the returned Owen Liston beginning a championship encounter for the first time in 3 years. It's much the same for Cork's Larry Tompkins, badly hampered by injury since the county won the double in 1990, the most recent problem being a cartilage operation 7 weeks ago. Kerry's selection is largely along the lines of the team put out to face Dublin in the league semi-final. However, Anthony Gleeson cries off with a knee injury, and in the reshuffle, Kieran Culhane moves to full-back with Connie Murphy stepping into the corner. Of note, Maurice Fitzgerald is chosen at wing forward with Dermot Hanifin and Bernard McGilligan manning the midfield. The Cork objective was to make minimum changes after the team's emphatic win over Clare. In the event, there are no alterations among the backs, but not unexpectedly, Shea Fahy starts at midfield, where his influence in Ennis was considerable, while Larry Tompkins takes his customary number 11 shirt. Kerry are bound to be concerned about Colin Corkery. He shattered Clare with 2 goals and 5 points. His marker today is expected to be Morgan Nix, who showed against Kildare and Dublin in the league that he'll concede nothing lightly. And the man in charge is Brian White from Wexford, this year's National League final referee and very much a fitness specialist. Cork won the toss and opted to play from left to right in the first half. And it's strange, Cork playing Kerry in a championship match and neither one of them the defending champions. Sean Burke here, the Kerry captain, restrained unfairly. Little or no breeze about. Kieran O'Sullivan making a fine catch. Stephen O'Brien linking up with Shea Fahy, threading it forward to Kieran O'Sullivan again. Very confident and assertive player, Don Davis. Larry Tompkins, Davis won the free. Don Davis, who graduated as a Garda from Templemore during the week, and of course a younger brother of Tony, the team captain. Larry Tompkins, of course, used to take these, but now with a fine place kicker like Colin Corkery about, he's able to deliver the goods and sent over the opening point after just a minute. So John Maughan, a confident start there by Colin Corkery.
Certainly was, and a great start for Colin Corkery. I suppose he's under a little bit of pressure here today, having played so impressively a couple of weeks ago against Clare, but certainly that will settle him down no end.
This the kick again, sent straight over the crossbar, and Cork go in front. Sean Burke kicking towards Billy O'Shea's corner, and Cahalane fisting it away from danger. Burke once again crossing the 45-metre line. Eamon Breen, Dermot Hanifin just having to adjust his balance somewhat to get it onto the right boot and to kick over the equalising point. That's a fine score by Dermot Hanifin. So the sides are level after just 4 minutes. Nice piece of interpassing.
Without doubt, Dermot Hanifin and Shea Fahy are great friends in the army, and certainly Dermot getting the upper hand of that. That was a magnificent score.
Fired across towards Corkery, again wrong-footed by that delivery. Morgan Nix anticipating. Sean Burke has started very confidently. Now Bernard McGilligan, championship debutant like Seamus Moynihan. Touched on by Eamon Breen, but again it's Mark O'Connor waiting for it. charging his way out. Brian White awarding the free to Kerry. It's a decision that could have gone either way, really.
Certainly, I think Mark was a little bit harshly judged there to have fouled that ball. Lots of referees will give a free out in that instance.
But it gives Maurice Fitzgerald this golden opportunity of putting Kerry in front for the first time in the game. 11 minutes into the first half. And he doesn't miss chances like that. So Kerry hit the front for the first time in the match. That's the score once again. Very confidently kicked. You'd hardly expect him to miss chances like that.
Certainly not. There's no greater exponent in the game than Morris in situations like that, and he's proved it there again. And I certainly think that today could come down between the battle between the free kickers.
Teddy McCarthy again getting up there. The aeroplane, as they sometimes call him. Coffey. Belted ahead, hopefully towards Colin Corkery, dropping down between himself and Morgan Nix, and Joe Kavanagh reading it. For a left-footed kicker, this should be a score, and it is. So the sides are level. Cork's first point from play, credited to Joe Kavanagh. Scored 5 points last year against Kerry. This is first this afternoon.
Certainly marvellous score there again. We see a long high ball coming into the target man, Colin Corkery, who has played so well in this year in particular, but that time knocked it down, and a magnificent score there.
Bounced down off Bernard McGilligan, and Cork are winning at midfield. Kieran O'Sullivan dropped in. He got away just momentarily there. Kavanagh kicking, scored, and saving rather brilliantly. Brilliant save by Peter O'Leary. Well, Kavanagh just got away from his marker, Kieran Culhane. Seemed to be a goal, but then the goalkeeper produced a fine save.
Magnificent save there, but I see Kieran O'Sullivan delivering a lot of good quality ball there today, and certainly picked out Joe Kavanagh, who had, I suppose, taken 3 or 4 yards on the full back, Culhane, but marvellous save, superb.
So that great save results in some more pressure for the Kerry backs from this 45 from Colin Corkery, going towards the left, and it's gone wide. It was Joe Kavanagh again. A little bit of fumbling in defence, so twice in the last 2 attacks Joe Kavanagh had the opportunity for 2 goals. All dropped down here. Kavanagh coming in on the blind side, but couldn't hit the target. Now Seamus Moynihan. Glenn Flesch, youngster. Stephen O'Brien there to cut it out, anticipating as all good centre-half backs will, but not the best of clearances. Straight to Billy O'Shea. He's put it wide. Well, Billy, who got a goal 3 minutes from the end against Cork in Páirc Uí Chaoimh last year, couldn't believe his luck as he picked up that slack clearance.
That's true. I think Stephen will regret he had the opportunity to clear that ball there, but failed to do so. A dreadful clearance. But certainly Billy O'Shea has put chances like that ones over on different Sundays.
Don Davis. Good penetrative skills demonstrated by Don Davis, needing support, getting it from Corkery. Thought of a shot, there's support from Larry Tompkins. And Larry Tompkins kicking over his first point in the championship for some time. Well, he was 30 years of age last Sunday, and in his 31st championship game, he gets the first point of the game to make it 3 points to 2.
That's right, Larry doesn't miss opportunities like these in particular, and I suppose all the hard work was done again by Corkery and others, but magnificent score there, and that's more like the Larry Tompkins of old.
Taken by Dermot Hannafin, dropped in towards Owen Liston. A little quiet of late. Mark Farr taking it out. Given an advantage as well if there was any foul. Don Davis. Larry Tompkins alongside him, waiting for it in case it comes his way. Now Joe Kavanagh. Corkery. Drilled forward towards John Cleary. Tompkins again, tight angle, closed down in any case by Connie Murphy. Good defence by Connie Murphy to put Tompkins off. Justifying his recall there to the Kerry colours. Seamus Moynihan. Carol Edouard trying to get out first time to the ball. Wants to feed it on to Timmy Fleming. Here's a chance for Kerry. Closed down by Kieran O'Sullivan. Kieran O'Sullivan dispossessing the Kerry number 12. Appeals from the Kerry people that it was a push or a foul. The Cork people cheering, and Cork take it away, and it's Tony Davis. Now can they turn defence into attack? A certain score at one end, a chance at the other now for Cork. Colin Corkery right on the end line, holds on to it, players calling for it. It's Coffey nipping in, and Coffey's missed it. What great defence! Kavanagh still blasting it off the goalkeeper. An amazing spell this, and finally it's a free out. Well, action at either end. Kerry could have had a score, Cork could have had a goal. Here's the first incident. Timmy Fleming was involved.
Magnificent save. I think that was no foul. A great tackle there, and certainly Cork went up the field and should have had possibly a goal at the other end. But two great examples of tremendous defending here in both instances. But this certainly was a magnificent block there, and they had a second bite of the cherry but failed to take it. This is more like it now.
The game brightening up considerably. That was the last chance, and Peter O'Leary saved it. Eamon Breen linking up with Liam Flaherty, crossing the 65-metre line. Don Davis committing the foul.
I think he was harshly judged there, Ger. I didn't think that was a foul, but certainly he seemed to be harshly judged. But another opportunity here for Morris, and he might even slot this one.
Remember, it's 3 points to 2 in Cork's favour. We have 22 minutes gone in the first half. There's welcome sunshine on a humid afternoon in Killarney. Long kick, brilliantly put over the post. A second point by Maurice Fitzgerald. Teams level for the third time in this match. Confirmation, Kerry 3 points, Cork 3. Here's the kick again, well outside the 45-metre line. Well, didn't he win prizes down in Australia for his long kicking? John Cleary. Corker is waiting inside, and Nixon himself are having some great fun on the 20-metre line. They're wrestling away. The game has now been whistled up. Here they are. Not quite sumo wrestling. All broken up eventually, and the referee calling them aside. As the play was building up with John Cleary involved, the two of them were tugging and jostling for position. The referee now deciding to have a chat with one of his umpires, and the notebook and pencil are out, so the names recorded by Brian White from Wexford. Barry Coffey is ready to go in and jump there. So too Sean Burke. Just pushes him away, and the referee says, just hang on a minute. Oh, just a little bit frustrating. Won by Barry Coffey, taken by Larry Tompkins instead, trying to go by Sean Burke, pull down. And that gives the free to Cork just outside the 13-metre line. As we anticipated, Colin Corkery does tap it over, his second pointed free, and Cork go back in front again. 26 minutes gone in the first half. Tony O'Keefe and Sean Kelly there, Secretary and County Chairman here in Kerry. Watching Teddy McCarthy take that high possession in the air, transferred to Kieran O'Sullivan. Joe Kavanagh was the intended target, instead it's Kieran Cullihan going by Barry Coffey. Seamus Moynihan now. Nicely dropped forward towards Owen Liston, again in there with Mark O'Connor, touched on to Timmy Fleming, who has just switched into top of the right in a switch with Billy O'Shea, and he was only a yard or so away from making contact that time. Teddy McCarthy finding Shea Fahy. Pass partially blocked. Moynihan going back in a collision back there with John Cleary involved. Two players lying on the deck. Meanwhile, it's Colin Corkery, players calling for it. One of them, Larry Tompkins. Corkery going directly forward. Stopped brilliantly once again by Peter O'Leary. That's two splendid saves he's produced in this first half. But Larry Tompkins on hand. Inexplicably, he's put the ball wide. Cork's sixth wide against just 3 for Kerry. And that was a golden opportunity for the Cork men. This was the angle jump.
Dreadful miss by Larry. He'll know that himself. But there again, Cork have missed 2 opportunities to take at least a point from two good raids in the last couple of minutes.
Remember, it's Cork 4 points, Kerry 4 points, just a minute to go to half-time.
Yeah, certainly Mark O'Connor would seem to have got the better of the Bomber at this stage. And I wonder what options Ogie has.
Nicely fetched there by Colin Corkery. Larry Tompkins now making some headway, challenged and perhaps fouled. Indeed it is, 13 metres free, the outcome. 2 men coming in to challenge Larry that time.
Certainly, I don't think they'll have any complaints about this one, but there was a time when Larry's pace would have taken him away from those 2 defenders, but not anymore, I'm afraid.
Colin Corkery with 2 pointed frees out of 2 so far. Now 3 out of 3 as anticipated, and Cork go back in front. So Brian White signalling that is going to be the final piece of action of a first half that was intense but not exactly spectacular. As John Maughan suggests, it's a very hot, humid afternoon. There's a lot to play for still. At half-time, Cork go in leading by just a point, but Peter O'Leary here has produced some sparkling saves. There's the half-time position. Cork 5 points, Kerry 4.
Flakiest milk chocolate in the world.
Heineken 33CL. A great new number.
New, the Wilkinson Sword Protector. A razor so sharp that it has to be kept behind bars.
Life needs a strong man.
Protective guard wires mean that while the shave is close, as you would expect from Wilkinson Sword, it will be the safest wet shave you've ever had. The safest wet shave ever. Protector. New, only from Wilkinson Sword.
Do you come here often?
I bring the little one. He loves the water.
He does seem full of life.
Well, that's thanks to his Energizer batteries.
Energizer?
They last so much longer than ordinary SP batteries.
Do they really?
And what's more, Energizer doesn't have any harmful mercury added.
Oh, so you're an environmentalist?
I'm not. I'm a respectable married woman.
Oh. Energizer. It's stronger to last longer.
At Irish Nationwide, we have reduced our mortgage rates yet again. Irish Nationwide Building Society. We now offer you better terms than ever.
Another great summertime saver from Irish Rail. Take the train from Cork to Dublin from as little as £20 return. Summertime savers on Intercity.
Now remember, the editor said we've got to get all the nitty-gritty on in this time.
Right, he's having breakfast.
Breakfast, well, what is it?
Whole wheat flakes with raisins and bananas. No, coconut and apple.
Kellogg's Fruit and Fibre, a delicious combination of taste in every bite.
Hello?
Fancy a bowl of Kellogg's Fruit and Fibre, lad?
Kellogg's Fruit and Fibre, never the same bite twice.
Sal and Sal.
Woman's heart can be. It's only a woman.
O'Mahony is now at midfield with Dermot Hanathan, and Maurice Fitzgerald gets another new position. He's now on the 40 against Stephen O'Brien. It's Larry Tompkins dispossessed by Billy O'Shea. Transferred rapidly to Seamus Moynihan. Now Eamon Breen getting on the left wing. Cahalane touching it away, challenging Billy O'Shea here. Billy O'Shea is a very pacey corner forward. That's a poor shot. It's been a lot of very poor finishing this afternoon.
Absolutely, that was, I suppose, half a chance, and certainly he could have maybe crossed out to the far side onto the 21-yard line.
Joe Kavanagh getting well away from Cohan again. Ominous, because it gives the full forward a chance to set up a scoring chance, and he does. The second point for Joe Kavanagh, 2 points between the teams. He won the race against Kieran Culhane, and that was enough. It's won by Shea Fahy. And then there was some holding by Liam Flaherty on Don Davis. Don has popped up from time to time to pose a threat to the Kerry backs as Teddy McCarthy picks out Colin Corkery. Fine fielding against Morgan Nix, holding it up, kicking for a score on a tight angle, and that's another wonderful score. Colin Corkery's first point from play, his fourth in all, and from position there on the left-hand side of the Kerry goal, Kavanagh and Corkery have scored very good second-half points.
Certainly would appear to be the score of the game so far. An excellent, come onto his left foot and kicked an excellent point from a difficult angle. That's a great score. And Cork are beginning to get on top now.
Fitzgerald belting it forward towards Timmy Fleming, touchdown towards the waiting cornerback now, Cahalane, away by Mark Farr. Good long lengthy clearance now towards Colin Corkery, touching it away for Larry Tompkins to come on to colliding there with Joe Kavanagh. Pressurised by Sean Burke the whole time, fouled. Cork at the free. It's going well for Cork at the start of the second half. A kick just inside the 45-metre line. Like Maurice Fitzgerald, a very accurate kicker. He's kicked another one. And what looks another match-winning performance by Colin Corkery. 4 points from frees, 1 from play, and it's double scores, Cork against Kerry.
Certainly, Colin Corkery seems to have benefited from his time spent down under. He's developed into a fine big man and certainly can kick frees.
Well, that's 7 points from frees so far in this match. Larry Tompkins trying to make a burst through the centre. Larry has held on too long. It's a free to Kerry, and they're anxious to take it quickly. Sean Burke. Their forwards need to get motoring fast. It's Mark Farr who pissed that one away, but clearly holding on to the incoming forward. And Brian White decides that there was a jersey being tugged, and it's a fairly simple, straightforward free for Kerry. Fitzgerald tapping it over. 3 points the margin once again. 4 points from frees for Maurice Fitzgerald. Kerry with just 1 from play, which is Corkery once again. Trying to go by Morgan Nix. Done a couple of times in this game. Turning right around, making the space for himself, but shot dropping short. Inevitably the man who's ready to pick up the punt pass from the goalkeeper is Seamus Moynihan. Eamon Breen. So far a disappointing performance by Kerry. Nola Mahoney. Just under 20 minutes to go. Oh, that just sums up Kerry's afternoon. Nothing but nothing going right. 8 wides now by Kerry, 9 by Cork, but they were all in the first half.
Certainly that was a very poor effort at taking a point.
Good move inside there by Billy O'Shea, producing a 45. An impish run inside by Billy O'Shea, who's looked one of the livelier of the Kerry forwards this afternoon.
With 3 points in it, I think Billy probably would have been better off tipping the ball over the bar here. He had an opportunity to take a point somewhat earlier, and maybe with just 3 points in it, there was still plenty of time to keep chipping away at the lead.
Maurice Fitzgerald will be hoping to point this and put just 2 points between the teams. They may not be playing all that well. They may be very heavily dependent upon Maurice Fitzgerald and his 5 points so far out of their tally of 6, but they're very much in this game. Cork missed the goal chances in the first half to open a wide gap. This is anybody's match, really. Larry Tompkins making some good headway. It's as though there's no inside forward line functioning just at the moment. Joe Kavanagh trying to do something about that. Trying to pick out Colin Corkery, trying to set himself up for a scoring chance. John Cleary instead, and he's picked out the range on this occasion. John Cleary's first point on his birthday, and there are 3 points between the teams.
Colin Corkery again here having yards of room, and this time did a sensible thing and popped it out to a man who was in a better position than himself, and John Cleary will be delighted to get one of those today.
Billy O'Shea, the one to try and emerge with the football. Pressurised by Stephen O'Brien. Billy wants to take the free kick quickly. Again, 3 points between the teams, but the gift presented to Kieran O'Sullivan. Now John Cleary, who got that last point. I make it 11 minutes to go. Some holding by Liam O'Flaherty. O'Flaherty then conceding the free kick. It's taken very quickly indeed, and the referee saying, hang on a while, that's not the correct spot from which you're supposed to take it. Piece of quick thinking. I remember something similar happening about 4 or 5 years ago involving Barry Coffey.
I think we had an incident in this year's National League semi-final involving Kerry and Dublin.
That's right.
Where a free kick was taken from and ended up in a goal, but certainly John Cleary was miles away there from where the actual free occurred.
The impressive bank in the background watching as Colin Corkery kicks, attempting to extend Cork's lead. A lead of 4 points now, and Colin Corkery has kicked 6 of those. 2-5 against Clare in the first round. 6 points this afternoon so far.
Certainly a magnificent score there from Colin Corkery, and incidentally, Ger, I believe Colin Corkery has a grandmother from Clare.
Well, that's why he's so good. Oh, it's Fitzgerald dropping it short in there. Billy O'Shea struggling, he's been pushed, and Kerry have a free in and a chance once again to put just 3 points between the teams. Well, in a 3-point game, anything can happen right to the finish. Billy O'Shea was coming out to gain possession, and the referee deeming that there was a push there by Tony Davis. Mind you, it's difficult to see it from that replay. Wonder if there was a little dive taken. All academic in any case, because Maurice Fitzgerald has kicked over point number 6 for him, point number 7 for Kerry. The only other scorer, as I said earlier, was Dermot Hanifin. Shane Fahey coming racing for it, but it's Seamus Boyne who got the fingers to it, won by Tony Davis, however. Cork's team captain in the absence of Mick McCarthy, wonderfully blocked down by Sean Burke. Larry Tompkins driving it in towards Colin Corkery, just touching it down to Kavanagh. Chance to seal this match now. And it's there! And Joe Kavanagh may have missed a few in the first half, but he gets a goal finally, with 5 minutes remaining. A goal he deserved for all his promptings earlier on. A goal that puts a fair bit of daylight between the teams. This was a splendid finish, held his footing well, the 13-metre line as the keeper advanced, and it's Cork 110, Kerry 7 points. Hanifin trying to put a greater degree of respectability on the scoreline. Fitzgerald advancing, closed down by the well-grouping Cork backs. Kieran O'Sullivan appeared to be fouled, given an advantage in any case. Tompkins back there in typical Larry Tompkins fashion. Cleary trying to get to this one there with Sean Burke. Flaherty, Eamon Breen taking it now. Angled nicely across here. A chance for the substitute, trying to look for a penalty as well. Conor Carney on a tight angle. Finally it's put over the bar. Point eventually for the Kerry forwards from play, and it's Carlo Dwyer who gets it, fed out to him by Conor Carney.
That's right, Chair, but get back to the goal incident. I suppose the game is more or less as good as over at this stage now, but it came from a great long ball from Larry Tompkins, and again Colin Corkery proven to be the target man and knocked a great ball onto Joe Kavanagh, and for once Peter O'Leary was well beaten.
Well, in fairness to this Cork team, and they've just reached the Munster final or so, it would appear, They went to Clare to play Clare. They've gone to Kerry to play Kerry. And I doubt very much if the Munster final would be on Cork soil. We'll have to wait and see. Seamus Moynihan. Still going forward, partially blocked by Stephen O'Brien, won by Larry Tompkins. Memories of the good old days for Cork when he has to be back there, sweeping defence into attack. Right now it's Timmy Fleming going forward. Eamon Breen, for a largely disappointing Kerry team, getting a consolation score, a 9th point of the match. Eamon Breen's first. Scarcely raising a cheer, however.
Very much a consolation score, but an air of respectability on the scoreboard. But Kerry will be very disappointed, and I suppose in particular Ogie Moore, and as everybody that was up to see them play in the National League semi-final in particular were quite confident that day they had a real chance this year.
A goal and a point the margin. We're in injury time. The referee didn't allow any injury time at the end of the first half. Let's see how much time he allows now as Billy O'Shea lifts the tempo of the game once again. Looking for a point and perhaps then just a goal between the teams. There's a free in for a push. Well, will Maurice Fitzgerald opt to just tap it over the bar? Or will he try to engineer something a bit?
I think Maurice should tap this one over the bar. It's just the referee does allow a minute or two. We've seen it in the past, Mikey Sheehy years ago, down here on the same pitch.
Well, he's put the ball over. There's a goal between the teams. For the record, Maurice Fitzgerald kicked 7 points, all of them from frees. Is it to be disappointment for Ogie, however? Or can he expect a little bit of injury time? One last chance is all he's saying.
I think Ogie is
It's over. It's over. Ogie will have to wait for another year. Cork, beaten by Kerry in the last 2 championship seasons, have come to Killarney in grand fashion. Joy for Billy Morgan, who stayed on as team coach. It was all worthwhile. Victories over Clare, and now a victory over Kerry, who were quite disappointing this afternoon. Cork doing the business in convincing fashion, not always taking their chances, but overall a good team performance, strong in defence, good in attack, where Corkery and Joe Kavanagh, with a goal 5 minutes from time, made the final score. Cork, a goal and 10 points. Kerry, 10 points.
Miss.
I thought we played quite well out the field, but obviously our finishing left a lot to be desired. We could at half-time, I suppose, have been possibly going across the county bones.
But at least you must have been pleased that you were creating chances.
Yeah, and the main thing we talked about, setbacks before the game, you know, if any decisions go against you, and to hold your heads and keep playing away and keep plugging away, and that's exactly what, even at half-time we spoke about it. We said, look, you're beating them off the pitch, just keep what you're doing.
Cork were getting good ball around the middle of the field in their half-back line and were supplying their forwards well, so we're bound to be under pressure with that kind of ball coming in.
I just heard, I think Tipperary came to on the other side, and you know, we've got to be on our guard against Tipperary, and all we have to look back is the last year, Kerry against Clare, when, you know, Clare went in complete underdogs, and look what happened. So I think we'd be completely on our guard for the game against Clare, or the game against Tipperary, and I don't think complacency will come into it at all.
It's a new Cork team, really, because there's so many new youngsters in the side.
Yeah, it's a good blend. I've been saying that all along. I think that we introduced, I think there was 6 or 7 lads out there that haven't won All-Irelands. There was 9 lads to have, and the experience and the young enthusiasm. There was a nice mixture and a nice blend, and all our young lads, all our subs that come on, all done well, and there's a great panel of players there, and it argues well for the future, you know.
I think we have got to be very, very careful now. Going up to Ennis, we were underdogs coming here to the end in months, since it's easy to come to places like this when the pressure is off, if the pressure is on us now. I think we have to be very, very careful, because we saw what happened to Kerry over the last 2 years. First year they were lucky to beat Limerick here. Last year struggled against Limerick and lost to Clare. And of the so-called weaker counties, I think Tipperary are potentially probably the best footballing team there. If you look at their record, they went to a minor All-Ireland in 1984. I think 3 years later they beat Cork in the under-21 championship match, drew with Kerry and only lost the replay by a point, I think. So they have to have potential, and I think we'll have to be very, very careful with them.
Well, yes, Cork into the Munster football final on July the 18th, where they'll meet Tipperary. Tipperary beat Waterford in the other semi-final this afternoon in Waterford. The final score there, 3-10 to 13 points. Well, Tip were leading by just 2 points at half-time, but 3 goals in the second half. 2 of them from Peter Lambert were the vital scores that won the game and clinched that date with Cork next month. Well, now let's take a look at the statistics from the Cork-Kerry match. There was really nothing in it in terms of wides. Cork hitting just the one more, 11 as opposed to Kerry's 10, though in fairness it looked like there was a lot more missed chances in that match. There were, however, quite a number of frees in the match, almost 50 in all, with Cork conceding 28 to Kerry's 21. Well, those are the statistics. Now let's get Colm O'Rourke's views of the match. Colm, you're welcome. Games between Cork and Kerry, they're always great, colourful occasions, but in truth it wasn't really a great match today.
No, not really. I think this would be one of the least memorable games between Cork and Kerry, principally because of the fact that Cork really dominated this game from start to finish.
They were, I think it's fair to say, just a better team. It was as simple as that on the day.
Yes, and if they had to take even a reasonable share of the goal chances they got, the game would have been over much easier. Kerry played very, very badly, and I'm sure they will be very disappointed by their level of performance, while Cork will be very happy with the way they played, because if they had to convert some of the chances, the very good chances, they could have ran up a very, very big score.
Like Dublin-Meath encounters, there certainly shouldn't be anything lacking for motivation when they face each other, but Kerry just never quite seemed to get into it today.
No, even in the first half, when you would expect the Kerry would have come out fighting, especially in Killarney, they were really outplayed by Cork from start to finish, and Cork seemed to be very, very fit, and seemingly the rumours about Billy Morgan working his players hard in training seem to be true, because they seem to be very fit and very keen and very eager. Maybe some of them are looking on it as a last chance, but I'm sure the likes of Larry Tompkins would be very happy with his fitness level and his performance in today's game, because he seemed to be very sharp.
Good. Now, we've been looking at some incidents from the game, Colm. There was chances missed, chances taken, and chances saved.
Yes, most of the chances, of course, went to Cork, as we were saying. In this incident, Joe Kavanagh gets a lot of room inside, and great save by Peter O'Leary, who's out at the edge of the square and makes a very good save going down to his left. I'd say that only for the fact that Joe Kavanagh scored a goal at the end, he wouldn't have any great memories of this, because he did get a lot of very good chances. He's left-footed, he had to come on to his right or his left foot there, but Peter O'Leary was in a very good position to get out and save it.
Cork had enough chances in this game, of goal chances. They could have been streets ahead of Kerry, in fact.
Yes, they had 4 clear goal chances and Kerry had 1. And I suppose the Kerry goal chance would have probably kept them in the game for much longer when they were out of it really territorially, especially around the middle of the field. Timmy Fleming going through here had a chance. Kieran O'Sullivan comes in and makes a tackle from behind. I think some people will probably feel it was a penalty, but Timmy Fleming certainly had lost possession of the ball at that stage, and I think the referee was quite correct in allowing play to go on. And it's quickly transferred up to the other side of the field, where Colin Corkery gets the ball, and Colin Corkery sets up Barry Coffey, and it looked very easy to score there. Good defending by Morgan Nix, and I think it was Seamus Moynihan to get back. We see Timmy Fleming going through here, and Kieran O'Sullivan gets in a tackle.
Was that a foul, do you think, or was it a tackle?
I certainly would give the benefit of the doubt to Kieran O'Sullivan there. I think Timmy Fleming had lost possession of the ball anyway at that stage. Looked easy for Barry Coffey to score there. Morgan Nix does very, very well to get back and put in a clearance. And again, we saw very poor defending by Kerry today. A lot of time there for Joe Kavanagh to get in a shot. Peter O'Leary again saving the day for Kerry, and if he didn't play so well, certainly Kerry would have been beaten by much more.
There are 2 ways of looking at that, I suppose. You can say that great goalkeeping and stout defending at times by Kerry kept them in the match, but Cork were also missing those chances. They weren't putting them away. That might cost them another time.
Certainly against better opposition, because Kerry really weren't good opposition today, which went against their form in the league semi-final against Dublin. But against better opposition, Cork would certainly need to be taking 2 or 3 of those goal chances, because they really didn't score that much from play in terms of points, and I'm sure Billy Morgan will be a little worried about that 10 points, and most of them from frees by Colin Corkery, is not a good return.
Yeah.
And Corkery was the one man really that caused trouble all through. He was really the outstanding forward, coming in here in a narrow angle. Again, Peter O'Leary getting into a good position to make the save. But again, look at the poor defending by Kerry. Very slow at getting out, giving Larry Tampkins a very clear and easy chance, which usually he wouldn't miss. He puts that one wide. But the Kerry backs were very slow to get out to mark on that occasion.
Yes. Mind you, in the second half, when one goal chance did come, it was Cork who took that goal chance.
Yes, and I'd say Joe Kavanagh was quite happy to get another chance because he had missed a few of them. Again, Larry Tampkins sending in a long ball. But I suppose inevitably it was Colin Corkery who gets the fist on it, and Joe Kavanagh showing great skill on the ground to get it in with his weak foot.
Sure.
Very
Should the goalkeeper have come for this ball, do you think?
Well, Peter O'Leary had come out a couple of other times in the second half and won the race for possession, and I suppose he probably was continuing the way he had gone. And I suppose we'll have to say only for Peter O'Leary really Kerry would have been beaten by 9 or 10 points.
OK, so it's Cork and Tipperary in the football final for a change. The way the Cork players are celebrating after the match today, I got the feeling that they feel they've won Munster now. I don't wish to be unfair to them in that respect, but they have to be red-hot favourites for that game.
Well, having gone to Ennis and beaten Clare, now having gone to Killarney and beaten Kerry, I suppose the Kerry or the Cork people would have to be only human to think that they have the Munster title bagged at this stage. And I suppose that's always a problem. We have seen throughout this championship a lot of teams who have taken others seemingly for granted and paid the ultimate price of it. But if I was a Cork player, I'd be thinking there was a very good chance of winning the Munster title. And because the Munster champions are playing Connacht, I think a lot of Cork players will be thinking in terms of playing in the All-Ireland final in September. And I think they should certainly make it to the All-Ireland final with the way they're playing.
But what chance Tipperary? Because going back maybe just a little over 12 months ago, Colin, if you were to have looked outside Cork and Kerry and Munster, people would have pointed to Tipperary, say, rather than Clare as being the next strong football county.
Yes, Tipperary, of course, have got sort of lost in the publicity surrounding Clare. They always felt that they had as good a team as Clare and that they should have been capable of making the same progress. They have their opportunity now, I suppose, to show how good they are. They will be rank outsiders against Cork, but so were Clare last year.
Sure.
So maybe Tipperary will be capable of making that big breakthrough.
Yeah, nothing to lose, obviously, in that final. Anyway, what about Kerry? What about the future for them? They have some nice young players in the side still.
Well, I'd say Ogie Moran would be desperately disappointed at the level of performance by Kerry today because they really showed very little when they came under pressure. And the fact that their forwards didn't score from play until well in the second half, I suppose, is an indication. Cork defended well, but Kerry forwards were pathetic at times in their scoring. And not only were they kicking wise, but they left several balls short into John Kerrin's hands, and he set up attacks from there. So their whole forward plan went completely astray. I suppose Anthony Gleeson was a big loss for them at full back, but even in saying that, the Kerry forwards played very, very badly.
OK, Colin, thank you very much for the moment. But now, the next happy task that we have on the programme is to give out a gold watch. Well, that, of course, is our prize each week to the winner of our Man of the Match award. And this week's recipient is Peter O'Leary, the Kerry goalkeeper. Now, Charlie Nelligan may be gone, but O'Leary is proof that Kerry has turned out another goalkeeper with the credentials to follow
football. An outside bet,
goalkeeper with the credentials